this week's video. My name's Lynda Gaiao. Today we're taking a look at trait 64, abstraction. This particular trait is in the inspiration function, or the head center in the human design system. And what we have here is a trait in the abstract circuitry. The abstract's always about the past, and so we've got things about the past and in the inspiration function. And what you get here is, if you think about any memory that you have from the past, the way that we remember something can be quite selective, and it can really depend on where we were in terms of our moods at the time as to how we remembered that memory. And so when we're thinking about these highs and lows of life, depending on where you were in life during that, the recall of that memory can have a different flavor to it or a different perspective to it. And so what trait 64 does is it's a stream of data that's coming from this past experience, and it's filtering through the mind, and it's in no particular order. It's almost disordered in a case of disorder. And with that comes a level of confusion, because you're not really sure how to connect all the dots, and it's kind of all these different pieces of data. And as it's streaming through, we get this confusion. But ultimately, over time, as we allow all these pieces of data, all these different images of memory from the past to filter through, eventually at some point, what emerges is an aha moment, or some form of clarity, some form of understanding of what that past experience was all about. Now, when we are looking at the inspiration function, or the head center, there is a pressure here. And what can happen is, if you try to disrupt the natural flow of how this process works, you put pressure on it to resolve it in your own time frame, or according to a set methodology of how you'd like it to be resolved. What happens is the confusion level increases, and we get anxiety that comes with this as well. So not only do you have confusion, but you're feeling really anxious about it too. In our modern Western world, this can actually be quite a challenging trait to have in your design, because we are very often not given the time and the space that we need to allow things to kind of filter and percolate. And that's exactly what's needed here. One of the things that I have loved when I've witnessed this particular trait in action is how great these people can be at solving problems, because when they're given the space and the time, it's almost like that problem that they're trying to solve is bouncing around, and it's just kind of like going over and over, and eventually there's this great aha that comes out, and then they can come out and say, well, I've got this great perspective, I've got this great solution, I've got this great idea on how we can solve this particular problem. When I started this video, I mentioned that it's abstract, so it's not logical. It doesn't come up with an opinion about something, it's an idea. It's one little slice of perspective, one possibility of something, of how you could solve something. And this is a really useful quality to have in our environments, in our organizations and our teams. We need problem solvers like this. When these particular type of people are feeling really trapped under time pressure to resolve or solve a problem, they get really frustrated. But if you can say to them, you know what, just forget about it for today, just let it go completely, and we can pick this back up tomorrow, what you find is just that space and that freedom that they get given to just let go of the problem and allow that mental clarity to arise on its own. This aha will just suddenly pop out of nowhere, and they'll be like almost in the middle of the night, or sometimes it can happen minutes later, where they go, oh my goodness, I know how to solve it now, I know how to solve this problem, it's come to me. So if you're running a team this week, or if you have some, with this week, in this week when we have this energy in the background, or if you've got somebody in your team that constantly has this trait in their design, one of the things that you're going to want to really do is to give them the space and the freedom to allow the streaming process to happen in its own timing. What you might notice in your team this week is increased levels of anxiety, especially if you're going to put pressure on people to do things in a very strict time frame or under a very strict methodology, because the background energy that's around at the moment needs time, and you just need to let it do its own thing. It's almost like you can't intervene and force things to happen in a specific way. One of the other things that I wanted to mention about this particular trait is, when we have these solutions or these aha moments suddenly pop up, there can be this tendency to think, oh, well, this is something for me to take action on for myself personally, because I've suddenly got this aha, I've suddenly got this, I know what to do. And I really caution you here, because like with all things in design, you need to go back to decision-making strategy. Just because a solution pops up or an aha pops up does not mean that it's something to take action on. We still need to go into our decision-making strategy and check if it's correct for us or not. The other thing that I wanted to mention here is that the confusion part of the process, what I can see happening here quite frequently with people who have this consistently in their design, is turning that confusion inwards and making it into a problem with themselves. And this can really be quite unhealthy when we think that the confusion, that there's something wrong with me because I'm always feeling confused. I always feel confused about things. And this is a reality. If you have this consistent in your design, this energy of confusion is going to be around for you. But it doesn't mean that it's a problem. It's just a part of your process. It's a part of your problem solving or reflecting on the past, filtering and sorting through to come to a place of clarity. So the confusion is needed before we can come to this place of clarity. And so just watching, do you feel confused a lot? And do you make that into a problem with yourself? Or can you just see that as part of your process and allow yourself the space and the freedom to just be confused and know that clarity does emerge over time? With this particular trait active in your design, or if you're feeling it in the transit energy at the moment, this can be a time of an extremely busy mind, or not. But just watching this week, because the mind can seem really busy. You may feel like you don't really get to sleep much, because it's like something just turning over and over and over in your mind, and it almost may feel as if you can't sleep because your mind's overactive. Now, if you have this constantly in your design, you need to see that you probably are going to wake up many times in the night and have this sudden ahas or this ruminating, processing, filtering, sorting process happening. And just accepting that that's part of your process and it's not something that you need to fix or change. It's just part of your design. I would love to hear any comments or stories about this particular trait, if you have it in your design or you know someone who has it in their design. And if you want to be updated each week with the video that I release for the background frequency that emerges as and when it does, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can stay up to date. And until the next video, I hope you have an awesome week. Bye for now.